Okay, so like I said, 7 years later, he felt, or Mr. Okay, 7 years later, there was a goose egg that just dropped out of the sky. And this goose egg was one Mr. Tiberius Murkison, Mr. Dion Smith, best friend at the time. And he came to investigators with the story that him and Mr. Smith were the guilty parties of the murder of one Miss Jasmine. So after the 7 year process, he begins to tell the investigators that he felt very guilty for sitting on all of this information for 7 years, and him himself had grown, I guess, as a man and had a family of his own. And he said he could not just see his family just grow, and he know he had something to hide. And with the help of him being a Christian, that actually weighed heavy on his heart. So he told investigators that um, Jasmine had called Dion over to the house because she had something to tell him, or she told him on the phone, and then he came over to the house. So what she told him was she was pregnant, and when he got to the house, he was just hell bent on making her just get rid of the baby. He wasn't having it. He was just not having it. And Mr. Murkison said that Mr. Smith had said he did not even like Miss Moore in that way, and it was more of a embarrassing situation for him because one, he was a 18-year-old senior getting ready to graduate. Two, he also had got this 15-year-old, and I would say she was a junior or a sophomore, more like a sophomore, pregnant. And not only did he ruin his life, he ruined her life. That's how he was looking at it. And I would look at it like that, but apparently he was more selfish. He wanted his cake and he wanted to eat it too. So he did not want her to have the baby. She was hell bent on having her baby. She said, "No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it." And he uh, from what my understanding was, he brought the murder weapon with him, and he pulls the murder weapon out because I'm thinking it's premeditated murder because he brought the murder weapon with him. So he pulls out the murder weapon, which was, I want to say, a hammer or some type of bludgeon and type of instrument, and he bludgeoned her to death. Then when he realized, well, the altercation fell into the hallway, and then he proceeded to bludgeon her to death. The whole time this was going on, Mr. Tiberius Murkison was in her living room. He could overhear everything, even when she was dying. In fact, he said he came over and instructed Mr. Smith on how to do it right if he was going to do it. Then they proceeded to find trash around the house. They could not even just, you've already took her life. You could have just walked away, but no, they trying to hide evidence and trying to make it seem whatever it wasn't. They went around the house, found trash. Then they put it on her body, her dead body at that moment. Then they kindled a fire. And because they did not want the fire to be exposed to later on, they took the batteries out the fire extinguisher. They left out her house and they proceeded down the road. And that is the reason why that case had been cold for so long, because they thought they had got away with